When seconds count, the equipment inside an ambulance can mean the difference between life and death. A Lowcountry hospital system is making sure its newest fleet is ready for anything. Our Simone Roberts joins us live outside of HCA Healthcare's Trident Hospital in North Charleston. So Simone, what can you tell us about this new program?
Well, good morning, Anna. So the Lowcountry is getting a major upgrade when it comes to emergency care, and it starts as soon as you get inside of one of these new ambulances. HCA Healthcare's new inter-facility transport service isn't just changing patient care, but it's changing what's possible on the way to the hospital. Inside each one of HCA Healthcare's new 4 inter-facility transport ambulances, paramedics have access to some of the most advanced emergency medical equipment available. A power cot system allows a single paramedic to load and unload patients with the push of a button, reducing the physical strain that leads to long-term back injuries. On board, paramedics can intubate a patient, place them on a ventilator, apply a Lucas device for hands-free CPR, and monitor cardiac activity with the LifePak 35, all at the same time and all by themselves.
But really what's more important is being able to provide the appropriate level of care with the latest technology to those individuals. And so it's not just about being able to get there quickly, it's also being able to treat them appropriately with the most advanced technology and being able to deliver high clinical results to the patient.
They can even directly update waiting hospital staff through devices like the LifePak 35, so the hospital is fully prepared. That means even the most critical patients, those who need CPR, defibrillation, or ventilation, can be safely managed during transport without waiting for additional resources.
We want to make sure that we are supporting our community, we're adding value, and we're assuring that individuals who come to a freestanding emergency department can get quick transport to the hospital if they need that.
HCA Healthcare says that investing in this technology isn't just about improving patient care, but it's also about protecting the EMTs and paramedics who are there delivering you safely to all of the hospitals, no matter what. Now, staff is celebrating the ambulances with a ribbon cutting later today from 11:35 a.m. to 12:30 at their Trident Hospital location. Reporting live in North Charleston, I'm Simone Roberts, Live 5 News.